We are live. Good evening, everybody. It shows 0 up there. Well,
There's nobody here.
but where they're already here.
There's nobody here but us guineas.
Uh, hopefully they stay asleep this now. See, they actually went to sleep.
Well, it said there was free waiting, so they just don't appear to be here anymore.
Yeah. Well, just in case I'm wrong, which I probably am, we're starting this live off with my Lipton Georgia peach tea.
Let me just check something. A minute.
Well, now we got 4.
Well, we are live.
Yeah,
It's just that as soon as you went live, it my YouTube on TV decided to not be on TV anymore. Who else we got here? Who is here? Is there anybody here?
Grounds Family Farm. Hey, there they are.
Yay! We're here. We exist.
We
Uh,
exist.
oh, yeah, definitely exist now.
Melinda says, y'all don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Yeah, Melinda's here. Eric probably went to sleep on us. You know, he was in here grabbing the front row seat like he was.
Oh, yeah. He grabbed a seat with the most legroom so he can lie down.
There's Peggy. Hey, Peggy.
Oh, we're collecting them. We're starting a collection. Let's see if it comes up. Comes up on TV now. I can see.
I'm looking. I'm looking for Meg.
So who we got there?
And there's Brian. 50 year. Yeah, Brian's birthday is today.
Is he
Yeah, he's the old dude in the
50
room.
old today? That's not old.
He, remember if you remember, Brian's the one that got kicked out of the room for calling me an
I
old dude.
know.
He called me an old dude and he got kicked out.
Have we got Peggy? Peggy's
Yep.
here, yeah. Who else we got? Anybody else? Oh, I was on the wrong box there. We've got 9 people at the moment, according to this. Is my happiness smile therapist sitting and watching?
Yep, that's what I'm showing too, Peggy. But some people's clocks are a minute off.
My therapist says hello. Hello, my smile therapist. Hello, Dr. Abby. You know what, Dean? You should actually have guests guests on your show more often.
Well,
You're obviously not popular enough on your own.
Dr. Abby.
Oh boy.
Let's see here.
Oh,
Are we still there?
Loma. We've got someone called Loma.
Yeah. Hey, she here?
Yep. She just popped
Good.
in.
Good.
is weird. I've got Google Live Chat in one window. I've got us live on TV with a delay, and I've got the StreamYard Studio. Wow, we're into double figures already, and we haven't actually done anything useful.
Uh-oh. I'm messing with stuff here I shouldn't be messing with, I think. Get us messed all up.
Oh, I just discovered one thing, Dean. One thing really impressive. I can mute you.
Well, I might have to go mute during the time. Like I said, we're up to 7 baby guineas, and I was telling Neil we didn't know. I got one more maybe in there. That's cracking. But when I bought these guineas, we had no one to tell us how old they were, and we just haven't been getting fertile eggs from them. And it's at the end now, this end of the season for them to lay, and they've pretty much stopped laying. But the ones that have laid, they've matured over these months, and we're finally getting some that's fertile. And Meg's here. All right, now we're talking.
Yay! I've been a visit to her lives a couple of times.
Well,
I love that little house.
Neil's going to take us for a journey, and mostly through his neighborhood. It seems like.
Well, it's nearby where I live.
Yeah.
But it's
off the beaten path for tourists, right?
it's my little bit of countryside, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Blackheath itself is a 275 acres of just open land in London.
What I
So
think cool
that's a lot of
about
land.
It's a lot of places that tourists don't go.
Well,
you get them there, but
they go onto Blackheath. There's all sorts of things that go on Blackheath, but it's when they go into Greenwich Park, they all go and head straight to the same place, and I don't do that. You know, I try and avoid tourists as much as possible. You know, you're going out for a peaceful walk. The last thing you want is a lot of loud foreign languages coming towards you.
It's 1 a.m. in the UK and London and that part of the world right now.
Past bedtime? What are you talking about, Belinda? I've got another 4 or 5 hours to go, yeah? Before I go to bed.
Okay, Neil, I'm going to turn it over to you. We've been on here 8 minutes. We might get a few more drop in.
Yeah, well, like I say, we're up into double figures, so
we've got
you're going to have some late arrivals due to the fact that you know, they got their other commitments as well, and this is quite early for them. So,
and there's Tina. Tina just dropped in. So
we're doing well.
Melinda says she forgot you never go to bed.
Yeah. See, I used to have a little bit of a joke when I had a job, and someone said to me, you know, why'd you like working there? I said it's the only place I can get a decent sleep these days, you know. So, all right, so shall we get started?
It's all yours. The floor is yours, Neil.
Is it? Like the walls and the ceiling to go with it, but you know.
It's not up there, Neil. It's down there.
I was thinking I like the walls and the ceiling to go with it, you know, but all right, here we go then. This is my stroll through Greenwich. I'm starting off in Blackheath. which is that building used to be an old school, but it's been converted into flats. But this is Blackheath Village, and that village has been there for a few hundred years, and you can tell that by the buildings and the traffic. I just want to start off showing you a little bit around the actual the village itself. It's not very big, and that's yet another station that's within 15 minutes walk of me. So you've seen 2 of my stations so far.
Is all them buses double deckers?
Pardon?
Is all them buses double deckers?
Most of them are, unless they've got to go under low bridges or under tunnels, then they tend to be double deckers. So that pub has been there for, I think it was 200 years. I think that pub's been there, something like that. And now we come up to Blackheath with a ton of wind. I have to do a little quick edit here because this, you know, it's a blind corner. You don't know what's coming around, and they come around that corner fast. So now we're going up to the south side of Blackheath. Now, officially, south side of Blackheath is owned by the Earl of Dartmouth. Dartmouth, sorry, not Dartmouth, Dartmouth. The other half of Blackheath, the north side of Blackheath, is owned by the King, but it's all managed together. This is still within the London Borough of Lewisham, this part. And what you've got there is just parts of 275 acres of open land. You get everything from fun fairs and circuses and all sorts of things, football matches, everything goes on up there. That beautiful church there is All Saints of Blackheath, and that church is, I think, what was it? About 170 years old, that church. And it's strange that I've never actually been in there. I like old buildings, I like looking at old buildings, and yes, I've never been in there. Now you've got the Clarendon Hotel. Yet another piece of history from Blackheath. It is just really, really, really big. I mean, what you see there is just behind that, it keeps going. And of course, all I could do is walk across the Blackheath. It's not a lot to see on Blackheath. It's just grass. So I sped it up a little bit until you got to the middle of Blackheath, the very centre. So you've got Lewisham 1.5 miles one way, and Greenwich 3/4 of a mile the other. And I'm only half. This is the the centre point of Blackheath. this little circle was put there in 2012 to commemorate the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And around the outside of the circle, you've got different parts of Blackheath, what they used to be called, as separate entities. So, for instance, you've got the West Kent Field, which was one part of Blackheath. This next bit, you've got the old donkey pit, and you'll actually get to see that later. Lincoln Field. Churchfield, which is obviously where the church is. That road there is the A2, one of the main routes through London. And this side of the A2 is, like I say, part of Lewisham. But when you cross over this road, you go into the London Borough, the Royal Borough of Greenwich.
Look, nobody dares to walk across the road with lights on.
Well, you can do, but on that road, no. It's one of the few roads where I'll literally, even if it looks like it's nothing coming, I will literally wait. Here you have the old donkey pit. They used to have donkey rides up and down this. Quite a long ride. But they stopped quite a while ago because, you know, people thought it was cruel to ride donkeys.
What an ice cream.
Yep, they have ice creams as well. And this brings us up to the south gate, or what they call the Blackheath Gate of Greenwich Park. That lovely house there was the old park keeper, or not the park ranger lodge, which was built in 1851, I think. Yeah, 1851. And it's just another wonderful example of people having pride in their work. It's a beautiful little lodge. So what you've got here is this is the main road that goes up to the observatory at the top, and that is where the tourists go. They just go straight up there, in through the gate, straight up there, up to the top, and that's it. Me? I'm going this way. The flower garden. And this is where you get to enjoy the peace and quiet of Blackheath and Greenwich without the tourists. It's very rare to find any tourists in this part of the park. Lots of old trees and bushes, and there are so many different types of tree. in this area. It's crazy. Tourists tend to go, Melinda. Tourists tend to go to where's Dean gone? Tourists tend to stick to the main tourist destinations like the Queen's House and the Royal Observatory and things like that. But Greenwich Park is big. It's very big, and this bit I'm going on is just a little corner of Greenwich Park. And of course, when people do come into the park, they tend to go straight on. Why? Why do people just want to go straight anywhere? You miss so much.
We don't get lost.
Well, in Greenwich Park, if you want to, if you don't want to get lost, you just keep walking straight and until you hit a wall.
Get up. Leave the doggy. You're putting hands to wall.
But like I say, there's just so many different types of plants and things like that. Different types of trees and I mean, I can see at least 5 different types of tree in just this one shot. But like I say, if you carried on going straight, then you would miss the lake. There's a lake in Greenwich Park, and most people don't realise it's there. They know about the boating pond at the bottom, but they don't know about this lake at the top. They call it a lake. It's more of a pond, a large pond. Well, and if you just go straight up out of the park, you'd miss all this. Nice and peaceful. I mean, if you just listen to the sound, it's you wouldn't believe how he was in the middle of London. He was in London, you know.
Yeah.
Old and the new. An old tree behind and the 2 new ones at the front. And you will also notice just how well kept these grounds are. You won't see a single piece of litter anywhere. You can hear the wildlife, but you can't see any of it. It's all hiding.
Yeah, here.
There are normally tons of squirrels and loads of squirrels and everything everywhere. I think there was a duck or something here. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yes, there's a duck. That's my wildlife. Oh, 2 ducks. Sorry, I didn't see the other one. I actually get 2 ducks. But normally there's this part I like. It's just a little loop, which is like it's a tunnel of trees, But normally by this time you would have seen at least a dozen squirrels.
They saw you coming.
I'm surprised because it was a really nice day that day. I just don't like the gravel that they use. It's a very fine gravel that they've got on the ground. We come back to the main drag. Now, when I get to the top of this, you'll notice that the main path at the top here comes in at an angle from opposite, and then there's a lot of extra space over to the side. There's a very, very large and several acres of deer enclosure at the back. There have been deer in Greenwich Park for 400 years.
Well, the bird's not scared of you.
No, the birds don't care. You know, they like people because you get fed. You feed them. You know. And this is the main part of the actual flower garden, which, yeah, that's a lovely picture of it. A very nice picture of the flower garden. Doesn't quite look like that. It doesn't quite look like that at the moment, but there are some sections that have extra flowers in, but it's past its best at the moment. We're getting towards the end of the season, but we're not going down there. We're not going that way. We are now going into the woods. Yet another part of Greenwich Park that people tend not to notice. This is a very lightly visited area of Greenwich Park. And this is the main reason why I come this way. You've got the fence. There's 2 lines of fence. But this is a fence for the deer enclosure. I've been to Greenwich Park many times, and I think I've only ever seen deer twice. Oh, there is a squirrel. Oh, that's a bird. Okay.
Hey, he wants to know if that was English ivy.
Say that again?
English ivy.
I've no idea.
The vine back there.
I've no idea. Like I said, there are just so many different types of plants and trees and bushes. And I was hoping to maybe catch a glimpse of a deer or something like that, but I didn't spot a single squirrel, so seeing a deer wasn't going to be much hope of that.
Yeah, that might have been poison ivy. Poison ivy.
Whoopsie.
If there had been poison ivy and poison oak in there, then there would have been notices up, or they'd have done something to get rid of it. They like their parks to be safe for people to go to. As we come around here, we come to the main viewing point for the deer enclosure. And there's a double line of fencing. The idea is that you can't get too close to the deer. Over the back, there's a protected area that they can stay in. But like I say, I've been up to this enclosure several times, numerous times, and I think there's only been a couple of occasions where I've actually seen a deer anywhere near us. You don't need barbed wire. Simple, straightforward wire.
About 8 foot high.
Something like that, yeah. It's pretty high. But like I said, there's two fences, one behind the other. I zoomed in the hope that we might possibly see.
Look at that tree.
There are some crazy trees, and you want a weird looking tree for a horror movie. Go to Greenwich Park. There are so many creepy trees. There's no sign of any deer this time. So check a little bit further down, see if we can find any. The enclosure carries on the right. I have actually seen a deer in one of these sections before, these parts before into the woods. But it is rare to see one. And then we come back out to another crazy tree. It's one of my favourite trees in the whole park, this one. Look at the branches on that thing. And the whole thing is just... it just literally branches absolutely everywhere. It's sort of like no plan towards them. But this is part of the flower garden that we started off at further down there. There's so many different types of tree in one place. So if you're making a horror movie and you need a creepy tree or a strange looking tree, Greenwich Park's got plenty. Peggy, we call blackbirds blackbirds, ravens are ravens, and crows are crows. Three different birds. There you've got this lovely little cafe that it does tourist prices, but I still like their coffee. This is a highly efficient cafe. It's uses all sorts of. It has its own garden for growing its own vegetables and things like that. Out the back, uses high solar panels on the roof. It's got all sorts of things, and it literally just grows its own stuff, its own its own stuff. It could be one of the reasons why the deer hang around at the back there. You know, they're looking at a way to get through to the good stuff.
Peggy's got that much on her kitchen table.
So, having left there, we continue. We're now on the east side of the park. You can't go much further east without leaving the park. Down that way, you go to the boating lake. It's also popular with people that try to kill themselves so that they live longer. Namely, the joggers.
Well, we've got a place like that. It's called the Tower in the Park.
I can't remember, did I speed this bit up or not? I think I meant to, but it's a bit of a walk, this one. I think I sped some of it up. There we go. Here's someone. Here's one of the people that want to try and kill themselves just to try and live longer.
Okay.
I used to like running a lot, but I did it for fun. You know, when you're doing it to try and be healthy and trying to set a time. That horrible noise you just heard there was a Chinook helicopter going over. They have a habit, they follow the river down to Greenwich and then they head straight south from there. So more crazy trees. So I just love that. I love all the different types of trees and things like that. And there are some really weird ones. I mean, look at that thing. That thing looks like someone chopped the top off of it.
Yeah.
and they're really big. I was going to try and work out at some point what each of the types of tree was that I was seeing, but there's just so many different types.
Beautiful out there.
I go there for the peace, the quiet. I mean, bearing in mind that Greenwich Park is a tourist attraction. Bearing in mind that Greenwich Park is a tourist attraction, it's amazing just how little of the park they actually visit. Eric, I don't think my legs can take a jog anymore. Oh. Now this is another one of the main roads that leads through the park. And this one goes up and joins onto that first one that we saw. And so far, we've seen just a tiny part of the overall park. This is basically the same layout that was laid out 300 years ago. This thing here was only put there 100 years ago, 130 years ago. 1890, that was put there. The old bandstand, and they still have concerts on there every Sunday.
Okay. And then just 2 minutes walk. So just do 2 minutes walk. You can go out and stay at Continental and do the same.
They still do live concerts up there on Sundays.
Where's a midget?
Right. But at this point in time, like I say, I don't like paying tourist prices for food. So I bought myself a little packed lunch. And I decided to just have a nice sit down and enjoy my packed lunch.
Was that bandstand ever been used in a movie?
Large parts of Greenwich Park have been used in movies. There's hardly any part of Greenwich Park that hasn't. So we have the commercial break.
What random things I do video will be complete without Lipton's peach tea. It may not be Georgian, but then neither am I.
I don't know how I knew that. Well, you had a good lunch if you had one of these.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it when I was when I went to the store to get my little snacks for the walk. And it wasn't until I sat down and realised that I had it with me, I thought, you got to do it. You've got to do it.
But they're good, aren't they?
They are good, yeah. So that's where we started, all the way down there, and I zoomed in a very long way. That's the gate we came in, and you can still see the church, the All Saints Church down there. And this is where we're going. We are going up to visit all the tourists.
Oh boy, noisy time. Look at all the cars. We'd have never guessed there was tourists up there.
Before we go up there, we've got the old Pavilion Cafe here. That's another 115 years old. That cafe, that tea room, and it's octagonal, 8-sided. So this is what the tourists come to see. Is the Greenwich Observatory.
Hi, Drake.
Pardon?
Somebody
Greenwich
knew.
Observatory. Oh, Drake. Who's Drake? Drake Gordon. Hi, Drake. And this Royal Observatory, I mean, that is the latest part of it to be built, which is basically a planetarium that's been added. I've heard it's spectacular in there, but I've never been in. Well, I haven't been in there since that was put in there, so put it that way. The original observatory building was built in, what was it? It was, I think it was 1650 or something like that. Yeah, around 1650. And you'll get to see the oldest parts of the building as we get up towards the front. It's the most recognised part.
Wish I had that fencing.
Now we're coming up to the oldest part of the building. That isn't it. That is, it's about 50 years younger, but where you see in the distance on the right hand side, that building there was built in 1640 something, I think it was. Something like that.
Si kakak ditolak lah, si kakak ditolak.
And that's some famous dude.
There's a picture of me.
Now we come to the main reason why I like coming up to this park. And why I like coming up to this part of the park. Despite the tourists, that is why I like coming up there.
Wow.
That view. It's a spectacular view. You've got Millennium Dome over there, the O2 Arena. Come across to the Royal Naval College, and in the centre there, that's the Queen's House. That Queen's House was built between 1610 and 1630, I think it was. Yeah, 1616 and 1640, that's it. God, give me numbers right. And of course, you can see the Docklands to the right, just behind the thing. Zoom into the top, just see the top of the Cutty Sark there. Behind it, towards the left, is the City of London. And you could just see St Paul's Cathedral, the dome of St Paul's to the left, the far left corner, with Tower Bridge just in front of it. Before the Docklands was built, you could see for miles, miles and miles. That was all just Docklands over there before these tower blocks went up. This hill at the front of the where I am, that's been terraced now because too many kids were breaking bones rolling down it. See, that building you can see just emerging from the trees, that is the oldest building part of the observatory. It's built on the site of the old Greenwich Castle, which was demolished shortly before they built that. Now, people talk about the Greenwich Meridian being there, but it's not. It's actually about 330 feet to the east. So if you used a GPS to find the meridian, and there's this lovely steep hill that's the steep path starts off with a few steps, but then they run out of steps, and now you've got an incredibly steep slope. It's about a 1 in 5, 1 in 6 slope. It's really steep. this is actually the bit of Greenwich I don't like. It's the tourists. I know you've got to have them, but it just gets too busy in places. I mean, I don't know if this video just tells you, but if you look at that lady standing there, you notice that her feet are one side of the pole and her hands are the other. That gives you an idea of how steep that slope actually is. When I was younger, I discovered that if you start running down that hill, you do not stop. You just do not stop. You can't stop.
Ні, дивись, якщо ви не бачили місця,
Melinda, if you put water wings on, I'm sure you'll be able to get across the. It's only a big puddle that you got to get across to get here. Just, yeah, get the old water wings and a rubber ring or something like that.
We might be able to put some floaties on the bottom of my pickup.
Gives you a better view of the Queen's House. Queen's House is that part, just that section in the middle. The rest of it was built on later as part of the Naval College.
Peggy's coming up with ideas now.
Those two domes are the ones on the top of the Chapel of St. Peter's and Paul, and the other one is on top of the old Painted Hall. And that paint, you would recognise the Painted Hall from lots and lots of movies, including Pirates of the Caribbean or Stranger Tides, which the opening sequence and chase sequence was filmed in Greenwich Park. At the Seamen's Hospital. Gives you an idea of how steep that slope is. That is a steep slope. That building there, like I say, was built in between 1616 and 1630. It would have been built quicker, but it didn't quite work out that way. It started in 1616. The Queen at the time died in 1619, and it got left partially built until around about 1630. I love this. I love this part of Greenwich. This part of London. I just love it. You've got the peace and tranquility up the top of the park, and then you've got all these wonderful buildings down the bottom.
Peggy wanted to know if there were chimneys.
Did I get? Oh, they've got chimneys. Yes. They had to have chimneys. They didn't have central heating back then. There's a part of the National Maritime Museum.
Well, I imagine it's all just tourist stuff now, ain't it, Neil?
Well, it's tourist stuff in so much as this is the sort of thing that they come to see.
She wanted to know if anybody lived there. Neil.
No. The Queen's House is purely tourist now. I know it's called the Queen's House, but the crazy thing is that from the time it was built and completed, and the Queen moved in, to the time that she left, and up to today, the Queen has only ever lived there for a grand total of 7 years. Let's just have a closer look. This here was part of the Naval College, and it was a college for orphan kids, children who have lost their parents to naval accidents. These colonnades have got a special history of their own as well. They are raised colonnades, and they've got a couple of famous people on them.
And more statues of me?
More statues. I'm not sure who Sir S. Smith was. Maybe Eric knows it. He's a Smith. But this rather camp-looking gentleman.
That looks more like me. He ain't got no hair.
Well, this is Admiral Exmouth, a rather famous admiral around the time of Nelson. And that's the old Seamen's Hospital. This colonnade has got an interesting history because the old Dover Road, the road that went from London to Dover, came down this path here. The old Greenwich Palace, which was on the river, was separated from the hunting grounds, which is where the Greenwich Park is, the right side of the Greenwich Park is. It was separated by this road. So when this was built, it was built to actually go across the road. It was to bridge the road. So the left side was on the river side of the road, and this side was on the hunting ground side. And the road went straight through the middle of the house.
Okay. Brian, the Queen's homeless. They moved her out.
Like I say, you can see how steep that hill is. Look at that path I walked down. That is steep. So you go down here, you see the old cobbles. These cobbles were the old cobbles from the original road that went through. So imagine you were coming from Dover to London, you would actually go through here.
That's one way for the Queen to know what's coming and going.
Well, yeah, it's also meant that anyone visiting could come and go and get out of the carriage without getting wet. I mean, sadly, I was a little too late to actually go in and visit the inside of it. There's lots of very famous paintings and great works of art inside there. Plus, you actually get the feeling of walking in history because the steps in there are original steps, very worn from sort of nearly 400 years of use. They need to put a better closer on that door. That just slams. Ah, Mr. Peaks. I don't know why, but I know that one.
Where does the Queen live at now? Bill?
Where does the Queen live at? She lives with the King at the moment. William Pill. A couple of original cannons from the days of the old Naval College. When the Naval College first opened and was first put up there, they actually had 4 full-size ships out the front of the courtyard. I say out the front because this is actually the back. The side you saw from the hill was actually the front, originally the front of the house. But when the house was finally finished, there was a terrace added at the front, and as a result, it now because it now faces the main road, the new road route. It's now considered to be the front. That is natural stone colour. That is the natural colour of the stone. It's not been painted. got a new visitor.
Somebody got
Got
out.
ourselves a little guinea.
He got out of the box.
Hey, he got out of you. Now you can visit all of this for free. When you go in, there's a donation box and they give you a recommended donation, but they don't charge you.
I've got one of those out in the driveway. I recommend you leave your wallet.
I don't mind leaving my wallet. Just make sure it's empty before I leave it. That was one thing that the Queen did insist on when the Siemens Hospital was built. She insisted that there was no the view to the river. She still had a view straight through to the river, which is why the Siemens Hospital was actually built with the courtyard in the way. And this is where things get interesting, due to the fact that my phone was starting to get a little bit low on charge, and I decided to plug it into the gimbal to charge it up. So there won't be any sound from this point onwards.
Sorry, we got you to talk.
Here we have the east entrance to the grounds of the what used to be the old Siemens Hospital. And it was built. It was built around about what was it? 1690. It was built. Here you have the Chapel of St. Peter and St. Paul. Unfortunately, it was closed by the time I got there. And over there is the Painted Hall. Now, if you ever watched Pirates of the Caribbean, you may recognise that as the court building that they used. I managed to, like I say, I slowed it down to about 2 times speed. So otherwise, you just wouldn't see anything. It was just flashing by.
Like going across the mountain.
It was literally like that. Yeah. Now I say that this was built in 1690, but part of it was started in 1660. Sorry, 1664. And that part was going to be the new Greenwich Palace. The new Greenwich Palace, and became the King's Building, the King's House rather. and it was actually incorporated into the building of the Siemens Hospital that you've got on the old Siemens Hospital that you've got on the site now. It's a little bit of a shame that I didn't get any sound from this, because the part of the Siemens Hospital towards the end is actually a music school, and they practice all the time. I did try using an AI app to add some the missing frames to to be able to slide down by placing in missing frames and making it smoother, but
Wow.
it didn't work out. For adding 27 frames for every 3 was too much calculating to do for it. It was too much work for it. It did it, but it was like watching something from underwater. It's like watching from underwater, where everything was wibbly wobbly and all that sort of thing. So I just slowed it down to a point of 2 times speed.
I had to spend a month there.
Okay, as we come down to the front here, there is the Chapel of St. Peter and St. Paul. And the inside of that place is just incredible, as is the painted hall, which is on the left here. These were built by Sir Christopher Wren, and the same guy that built St. Paul's Cathedral. What you see there, that building there, is what used to be the King's House. It was going to be a brand new palace, a new Greenwich Palace, but it got incorporated into the Siemens Hospital, which was built shortly after that part was finished. And they did a good job of matching the other half to this. They did a very good job of matching that half to the old King's House. And if I had sound now, you would hear a drummer going loopy, someone playing a flute, and someone playing a violin. But not necessarily the same song, the same tune. They were all playing their own different tunes. And now we head down to the river at the Riverside Walk. I'm glad I managed to rescue this bit of the video. It's only about 10 minutes. It should have been 20, but it's only about 10 minutes. It would have been only 2. In the distance there, you will see one of the few things that I did make a video of. I don't know if you, I don't know if I shot it again from a different angle, but the old cable car that is one of the few videos that actually on my channel. In the distance there, I went on it the day it opened. There it is. I went on that the day it opened. And at that point, there wasn't much the other side of the river. Oh, it was a bit of a wasted journey. And the famous pointy building from the last video, the last live.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of editing. They do tourist trips and that sort of thing from here. And there's also a river bus service. It got a bit crowded around this corner, so I cut to the entrance to the old Greenwich Foot Tunnel. And my favourite lovely lady, Nanny, the figurehead to the Cutty Sark. When I was a kid, I used to come down to Greenwich just before all this modernisation was done, all the restoration work was done. I used to come down to Greenwich and sit by the river and chat with Nanny, tell her all my woes. The day they had the fire was a very bad day. But luckily, most of the what was there had been removed for restoration work somewhere else. So basically, it was only the shell of the ship that had the fire. So most of what you see there is still the old original. And that, I believe, is where we come to the end of the video. Yep, the end.
Wow.
And that is one of my favourite walks.
Well, I watched most of it on the TV back there. Wow, that was good. See, Neil, you can do this anytime you want to.
Well, I only done it because Abby said that she enjoyed it so much she wanted to come over here. So I thought I'd show a little bit more about near where I live.
Yeah.
And I hope she enjoyed it.
I like the off-beaten path stuff.
But there's so much more to see than you got the tourist spots, but there's so much more to see around the tourist spots. People go to Greenwich. They go to the observatory at the top.
No,
They go to the Queen's House. They go to the Seamen's Hospital, the Naval College, the Maritime Museum, Cutty Sark. That's it. That's all they see.
Yeah. Good night, Brian. God bless. Happy birthday.
Good night, Brian. getting too old to stay up late now, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's thinking about that number. He probably ready to go to bed about the time the sun set.
50 doesn't sound old until you look at it as half a century, and then you suddenly feel old. You know, you look at some of those old buildings there, and you're thinking that one was built in 1851. So, wow, it was
I'm
only
gonna
100 years old when sort of thing.
I'm gonna go back and watch this because there's that. Remember I said, "Wow, look at that tree." That tree had knots.
Yeah, one thing you know, if I'd have gone instead of going up to the towards the Royal Observatory, if I'd have gone a bit further off and then gone off to the left, you'd have seen the old famous Queen's Oak, the oldest tree in the park. It's not very well at the moment, but it's still there.
Yeah, Melinda, I do that now. If I go to when I've in the past when I be stuck somewhere on the weekend or something like that out on the road, I go up and ask the cashiers and stuff, what's close by that that's really a neat place to go see that not advertised.
Well, it's another thing that that little cafe that I showed you. It's quiet. The locals go there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. It's not one of those. It's full of tourists and things like that, like the old pavilion.
Yeah. And you
And the
get better.
pavilion is expensive.
And yeah, I was gonna say you get better prices too.
Well, slightly better. Like I say, the cup of coffee I had there was £3.50. So they're still tourist prices, but if you go to the pavilion, the same cup of coffee would be £4.50. You know?
Yeah.
My sandwich, my drink,
Hey,
and my
Rama.
snack cost me £3.50. You know?
Abby
I've got a
really,
sandwich, a snack, and a drink for £3.50.
Abby really wants to come over. Hey, that could be her graduation present. Daddy, Mama, start saving up.
It would be nice if Abby did come over because I'd get a real life smile therapy session. You know?
Yeah.
Instead of a video session, I'd have a full on, you know, a full on smile session. Right. Now, I gave you some interesting facts there, so there's going to be a quiz. Unfortunately, can't go in the water anymore. It's got an interesting history, that ship, and I actually went on it the day before she was closed for restoration work. I was on board. I went on board and have a look round. I wanted to have one last look before they did all the extra fancy, you know, raised her up,
Yeah.
put her on top of that fancy glass surrounding and that sort of thing. It used to be just an old dry dock with a ramp that went up to the actual entrance.
Everyone wants to see, would like to see more. So that means you got to make more videos.
You'd
It's
love
been
to see more.
Now you walked all this, right?
That was all walking, yeah.
Yeah.
But after that point there, I just literally just hopped on a bus and went home. Partly because I'm getting older and my legs don't like that sort of walk anymore, and partly because there was no way I was walking back up that path.
Yeah, I take the walk down. Coming up is another story.
The walk down was difficult as well. I mean, it's so steep that when you're wearing slip-on shoes, you know, as you're walking down, it's like your feet want to try and get out the front of the shoes. You know,
Hey, Crunchy, glad you made it. Hmm. Yeah,
but if you looked up for pictures of the painted hall, I think I've got some somewhere, but I couldn't find them in time.
I've been.
I've got pictures of the painted hall and the chapel of St. Peter and St. Paul, St. Paul and well, one of them way round. I don't care which one goes first; they're both there. And like I say, it is absolutely gorgeous inside. I think I may have actually shown Eric some photos of the inside of that in the past. It's phenomenal.
I've been in some old towns in Iowa and Texas. That makes you think you're back in the Western days. They still have that look and that shadow of history in them.
Well, like I say, if you go into the Queen's house and you walk up the stairs, you're actually literally walking up the same stairs as royalty.
Yeah,
You know, the actual you can see where it's all worn away from, you know, nearly 4 centuries of use.
yeah. You can imagine who all else walked on that,
Yeah,
who
you know,
visited that.
all the kings.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's the old Greenwich Palace. You know, Henry VIII was born there. Elizabeth the First, or you know, all the major royal figures
Hmm.
were actually born
You go in there and start hearing a baby crying. Oh no. Haunted. It's haunted.
But I couldn't resist putting my advert in there though. It wasn't until I sat down and opened my bag for my lunch that I realised that I'd actually bought, you know, a Lipton peach tea, and I thought, you've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to put the advert in there.
I don't know how I knew it, but I had the sneakiest feeling that was.
I said, well, that's because you're always pushing Lipton Georgia
Yeah,
peach tea.
yeah. I think they should really sponsor it. It's so delicious. The bottle's empty.
It was fun when I did the voiceover. I thought my voice wouldn't sound right on it, so what I did
God
was
bless.
I recorded the voice, took it into a program called Audacity, and I lowered the pitch of the sound without changing the speed. And I was when I saw the results myself, when I put the two together, it just sort of like, oh wow. I thought, it made me laugh, you know. I thought that is,
I was saying it, but I was kind of joking because I really didn't think you could.
probably
God
got
bless.
my own version.
Melinda, did you get your results today or find out anything today? Is she still with us?
Uh, give her a chance to answer in case she's still here. If not, I'll say good night to Melinda. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, you're 2 for 2, Neil.
In what way?
Can you top that? Praise the Lord.
I'm fairly certain I can come up with something that will close your channel down permanently.
That's
There
good.
is just there is just so much to see and so many places to see.
Before we started the live, I was telling Neil I was wondering what your results were. That's great. Good night and God bless, Melinda.
That's good news, Melinda. That's good news. Sleep well. It's always good to go to sleep with good news.
Yeah. Well,
I'm looking forward to the day that happens for me.
places you go eat. I know you don't like to film inside. Places.
It's not so much I don't like filming inside, it's that people over here tend to be a little suspicious when you start filming them inside.
Yeah.
They don't like, you may have noticed from that video that when there was other people in there, I tried to turn the camera away from them because
Yeah, you didn't really get a lot of faces.
in America, people will do their best to get on camera.
Not no more.
But over here, they
Not
just,
like they used to.
well, that's because they might be asked to be witnesses to something that's happened. You were seen in that area. You were seen in that area at that time. We want your witness statement. What did you see? What did you hear?
See, places you go shopping and that kind of thing. That's more off the beaten path than anything.
Oh, I mean, if I did a video of where I went shopping, it would be about 2 or 3 minutes because it's literally a case of come out my front door and walk round the corner. That's it. I mean, I don't want to show too much about round where I actually live,
Yeah.
despite the fact that it doesn't really bother me that much. Anybody wanted to cause me any problems, they've got three doors to get through before they get near me.
Yeah. Yeah. They wouldn't do that. Plus, they'd have to go upstairs.
But it's
I don't think you'd have a problem.
there's not a lot to see. I mean, I started off at Blackheath simply because all you'd have had would be one long road up to Blackheath. That's all. That's all it would be. Just one long road with houses on either side. So I started up at Blackheath simply because that's where the interesting stuff was.
The little towns, Eric, like Greenfield, Iowa. I mean, that takes you back. That little town is almost nothing there, but the buildings and everything takes you back in time. They don't have uh, they have the saloon. If you put the swinging doors on the front of it, like back then, you'd have the Western Street right there. I hate to see that.
I would love to see stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, but the advantage we've got is we've got a few centuries more history. You have, and like I say, that Queen's House was built between 1616 and 1630.
a lot of them little towns look Western. They're not tourist towns. I mean, there are those famous places like the Alamo and all that, but they've turned it into tourist attractions, and it's there, but it's surrounded. You're not in the element of the old, feeling like you're in back in the old days.
Yeah, that's one thing that gets me with tourist attractions. You know, you've got the history there, but it feels tainted because there's all these people wandering around in modern clothing and stuff like that with cameras and things like that.
Yeah.
It takes you know, you're there to feel the atmosphere and you just
And,
don't see it. You just don't get it.
yeah, and there's a lot of little towns still out there that you can find that feeling. It's you gotta get off the beaten path and go. I'm going to. Where are you going on vacation? Well, I'm going to go to Greenfield, Iowa. Where's that? Nobody knows where that's at. Nobody knows. They either that or they never been there before. What would you go there for? You'd have to.
Well, that's only the second time I've walked to Greenwich this year, simply because you know it's if you go early June or into September, it's a lot quieter. You know, if you go sort of like late June, early July, and into August, it's just packed. You can't, you know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to film all that stuff because there'd just be too many people about for you to be able to enjoy the buildings. You know,
that,
you couldn't
that's right.
you couldn't go into the painted hall because it'd just be full of people.
Yeah, Eric, that's what she said. Good news. And Peggy's saying, well, the T tax didn't pay for the Queen's house, 1770s.
Say that again? I missed that bit. I'm looking at the comments.
Yeah, so our tea taxes from the 1770s didn't pay for the Queen's house.
That was all paid for by the king. It's actually a funny story about that. He gave that land to the Queen as part of an apology for being angry at her for accidentally shooting one of his favourite dogs during a hunt. That is one heck of an apology. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, she was getting that it was built before the 1770s. So
Well, the Queen's house was built long before the 1770s.
the guineas are getting smart over here. They're piling up in a corner, and one's getting on top and falling out. I might have to put the top on it before I go to bed.
Yep, chicken in a box, a guinea in a box, isn't it?
Yeah, get in the box. Be like, get in the box. Get in the box. Get in the box.
It looks like Chestnut didn't manage to make the video, which
No,
is a
well,
shame.
unless they
It,
did.
it also looks like the Eddies didn't make it either,
Yeah.
but no doubt they'll watch it later.
Well, we got several people that we were up to like 15 or something like that at one point. I think it was.
I didn't keep a check on the count. I was too busy trying to.
Yeah.
This was actually easier than the Ely one because the Ely video I'd actually made and finished nearly 2 months before we actually got to show it. So with this one, I knew what I'd filmed.
Uh,
I literally finished editing yesterday. So
okay, look, it's bedtime for y'all. Come here. Let's go back. Don't get out of the corner. Look, you're on camera. Look. Did the camera scare you? Do you see yourself, or you see me? Oh, you see me, and it scares you. Okay. Did you hurt yourself when you fell out? You didn't act like you did. You just kept on looking. Okay. Wait a minute. Ah,
Had to do that. Get a decent look at the guinea.
yeah.
There's only one problem that I can't be off stage and still have the microphone.
Yeah. When I mute my mic, it doesn't mute the whole thing, does it?
No, it doesn't mute the whole thing. Just mutes your mic.
Okay.
It does the same thing when I mute your mic. It does the same thing.
Yeah.
I find that really amusing. The fact that I can actually mute your microphone.
Yeah. Well, I got a button here that says remove Neil from stage.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah.
You gave me far too much power.
Yeah.
Now we're in the wrong order. The right order. That's better.
But we had but I think we had some people who never made comments. They just was on there watching.
I think there was. I mean, not everyone
Yeah.
chats. We've got the usual chatters, but there's 10 people viewing, and I don't think there was 10 people in the chat. We're down to 9 now. They're starting to leave.
You got 9 now, it says. But yeah, that was fun. I wish you'd do more of them. You maybe every month, once a month, or every 2 months, or every 6 weeks.
Let me just dig out one of the clips a minute where the camera went crazy. Let's see if I can dig out one of the clips of that.
Yeah, you'll always have that problem.
Well, I only had that problem because I was I didn't look at the camera after I'd done it.
But well, it's like me going in the guinea pen yesterday, and the phone sitting out there filming overheating, and I didn't know it overheated. And, Clyde tried to escape. I was headed for the door, and he flew right up in front of me and just went crazy right in front of the door, the gate where I go out at. And I thought, oh, now that'll be cool. I didn't get it because the phone was sitting overheated. Then shut down. So little things like that are always going to happen. But he was trying to escape. I said, no, how escape artist. He got him on camera. Go out there, and the camera goes overheated. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I think this is the normal speed of which which is why I couldn't use it. It just isn't watchable. It's just too much.
Yeah,
it's too fast.
Fast.
I had to slow it down, and I managed to slow it down to 2 times speed. I wanted to slow it down to normal speed, but 3 frames per second. It was just like stop motion video. There was no way you could have actually watched this properly and seen all that I filmed. Your eyes just haven't got time to pick out any details or anything.
Yeah, we'd have to crank my truck up and while that video is running. I have the seeing the sunset at the end. Oh, good. And see, that's what I was talking about. Meg was talking about ideas here a while back. Take and go to town and let's see where the town or the town itself. You know.
That's something I didn't put in there. I meant to put it at the end. There's on my way home, stopped off at Blackheath, waiting for a bus, and we had a beautiful sunset there, and I got some pictures of it, which for some reason I did not add to the end of the video. I meant to put it at the end of that video. That's a shame.
Don't lose it. You can still use it later. See,
As you can see, that's why I couldn't use that. I had to do something with that last bit of video, but I didn't want to lose it because, you know, there was so much more to see there, and I wanted to be able to show you all of it.
but yeah, she's Meg's living way up north up there, and I know she's got some little town that she goes shopping in, and I'll go ahead since we got 9 people in here. Next Saturday we got pony rides again, and then I'm planning on taking a little trip while I'm able to, while I know I can. But I already told Neil's the only one that knows where I'm going.
I do.
Yeah. I told you off camera. Maybe not. Maybe Neil don't know.
That's just it. You know, people won't know. Do I know or don't I know? That's the thing.
Yeah. Don't y'all start sending Neil messages and asking where's he going? Where's he going? Because Neil's done forgot.
I wouldn't tell anyone anyway. I'm good at keeping secrets, mainly because I forget what they are. Until someone brings it up, and then I suddenly thinking, do I say anything?
Yeah. Well, Meg, I'm talking about. It's like, I'm talking about stuff like I do. Like I leave here, everybody like to see the fruit stand. That's a place in town. You know, the Dollar General store. Going to Chickamauga, going through the park, that type of thing.
But that's, as you can see, that's why I like the idea of coming over and visiting over there, because it's so peaceful.
Yeah.
You take somewhere like Oklahoma, the whole of Oklahoma has a population of just 4 million people for the whole of Oklahoma. And yet, you know, you've got somewhere like London, which is about the same size physically as Oklahoma City, with 10 million people in it.
Yeah.
Now, Oklahoma City's only got 400,000. It's crazy.
I used to like being in the desert. I always tried to spend the night crossing the desert. It's across the Mojave or wherever, you know, there's places down towards San Diego, the big mountain. And I mean, there's got Interstate 8 across there. It runs you over there, but off of Interstate 10. But there's not a lot out there. There's cactuses out there, that look like if you're standing in front of them, it looks like they're getting ready to grab you.
You wouldn't want to hug one of those, would you?
No, no. I got a picture somewhere of Michael's mother standing in front of one, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it looks like it's getting ready to grab her. Don't move. Hold on a minute. I got to take a picture. And when we developed the picture, uh, she's like, "Oh wow, it was reaching for me." Yeah, it looked just like that cactus was getting ready to just grab her. I wish they had. I wish back in those days had the capability of the filming we can do now, and the quality of filming we can do. Uh,
Well, I used to be heavily into photography, with the old 35mm film.
yeah,
And when it started going digital, I started to lose interest because now it was far too easy to take a photo. Back then, you didn't know what you was getting until you got the photos back from the developer.
yeah.
And now you can look at it thinking, "Oh, I don't like that. I'll take another one."
But now there's things. The one thing I like about the technology of the day, you see what you do right then and there, and if it wasn't what you really wanted, you could do it over because you might not get to go to that place or see that certain thing again.
Yeah, but it takes away the art form.
Yeah, the art.
Because you got the cameras now, they're all fully automatic. You don't have to just point it and click a button and that's it.
Yeah,
All my old cameras they're all fully manual. You had to do everything yourself. The focus, the shutter speed, the ISO, the depth of field, and everything you had to do yourself.
yeah.
And I enjoyed the challenge of getting all the settings just right to get the picture I wanted.
We
You
used
know,
to wait for
when you got
certain
36 pictures on a reel of film, you
looking
know,
looking for the perfect place to take a picture. And but the day before you do it, you find out what's the best time of the day to do it, where the sun is.
exactly. Yeah, there's so much
Yeah,
involved in doing it, and it's a challenge, you know.
and everybody's got to be here at this time because that's the perfect time to take the picture. That's when it's just right. If you're 15 minutes
Peggy,
late, we're gonna miss it.
I had an old Brownie camera. It was actually a Kodak color Brownie color camera, one of the first ones I ever made. I picked it up for £1 at a Cub Scout sale. Took it home, took it apart, cleaned it up, got it working. And at the time in Sydenham, there was an old photography shop, and I took the camera to him, and he offered me £150 for it. I asked him if I could have a film to try it out. I wanted to make sure it worked. He offered me £150 for the camera, not knowing whether it worked. But he gave me a film and said he would develop it for free if I sold him the camera later. I went out, it worked perfect. So I didn't sell him the camera because he was offering me £150 for it, not knowing if it was working. Now we knew it was working. It was worth a lot more. And when I checked it out later in the old books, because we used to have to use books back then, didn't have the internet. But when I checked it out in the old books, it was last at an auction. One of them went for 450 at that time. So, but I kept it. I didn't sell it. I had 9 cameras at one point.
Wow. I've still got several old cameras stored away around here somewhere.
It was quite a sight. If I went to an air show or an air fair or something like that, or some sort of event, I used to have 3 or 4 cameras hanging around me with different lenses on for different purposes. So I always had one ready to go if something happened. But like I say, when it all started going digital, it suddenly started to get too easy. You know, you tend to lose less interest in the detail.
Yeah.
You know, you take a picture, you don't like it, you can take another 50 or 60 pictures until you find one you like. And it to me, it's sort of like it was far too tempting to go down the easy route. It took the challenge away, you know,
Yeah.
because you've got automatic features, you don't have to think about it, and it just took the challenge away from me. So I didn't get into I didn't go in for photography quite so much after that. Plus, I don't like taking pictures of people. I like places, I like things.
I like people.
Places, things, and animals.
Pe-
I think it's partly because I don't really like having my own photo taken.
I like expressions and
You know, this is this is the worst part about doing this is actually being on camera. You know, I mean, I could put my test card up,
uh,
the NGC silly TV. I could put that up instead, you know, but
yep.
it wouldn't have the same appeal for
You're
some
right,
reason.
Eric. You can do it with an iPhone now. This iPhone I have now has a zoom that is amazing and keeps the quality of the picture and everything when you use it.
Well, that's just it. I mean, like I say, that I accidentally changed the mode on my camera
Yeah.
and filmed sort of at 10 times speed. You could do slow mo on the camera.
What?
You'd have to mess about.
Yeah. What? It's I've got. Well, this one here, these selfie sticks.
Hmm.
I've got the one that actually will fold out into a tripod, and I guess it's about 4 foot, 4.5 foot tall when you expand it out. And then I've got this one that I like to use the most, and I've got a little button thing that you can push to turn it on and off. And if you're not careful, you'll turn it off and not realize it, or
That's
you'll bash it to turn it on, and it won't come on, and you don't
yeah.
know. You think you're filming the whole time.
This is my gimbal that I use.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Insta360 Flow, and yeah, you can take the camera mount off, stick it on your camera. If I get it the right way up. And you can keep it all folded up still with your camera still on the gimbal. Now you can keep it on the gimbal and all folded up still,
Right.
and then you just open it up, and it does its thing automatically. It just holds it nice and stable and steady. And
Yeah, it does good.
but the other thing I like about it is it's got the
Right.
old selfie stick thing.
And you put it up in the air like you're doing a aerial
You
shot.
can do. You can do. It's got tracking, so if I wanted to keep it on my face, it would follow my face.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom, I've added this myself. It can go onto a normal tripod as well at
Right.
the bottom there, but it's also got this little bit that extends out so that it's easier to hold. And the bottom then extends out even further to make it a little tripod.
Right.
So it can stand up, so I
Then
love this gimbal. It's really nice. And of course that it's small enough to just fit in my pocket.
I used a belt clip a lot and let mine hang beside me. Especially when I'm having hand problems, my hands don't want to work right. One thing I have learned, if I extend it out just a little bit and hold it, I can hold it right here and it's real thin and it's not hard for me to hold on to. Yeah. It could be like one of those gadgets where your gimbal turns into a drone.
Wow, that would be something. That would.
They-
But this one, the DJI actually make a gimbal. It's similar sort of price, not as intelligent as this one. This one's got smart AI technology built in. But what they do in theirs is the battery and all that is in the handle.
Yeah.
On this one, it's in there. So you've actually got a bigger battery than you would do you have in a DJI. And it's also got the added bonus, and this is what messed me up, was when I decided to plug my phone into it, is you've got the charging port near the bottom. Charging port somewhere near the bottom here. Where is it? It's here somewhere. It's on the side of the controller there.
Yeah.
But you can use an extra charging port here to plug your phone in while you're filming, so that you have extra power for the phone. So it works as a power pack as well. And like I say, that's where I went wrong. When I was plugging my phone in, I somehow managed to change the setting on the phone and messed up the rest of the recording a little bit.
It happens.
Well, it's something I'll be watching out for next time I use it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but there'll still be that one time that you won't realize you did it. And you don't even think, you don't even go, well, I need to check, make sure I didn't move something.
yeah, I think I filmed a grand total of about 2.5 to 3 hours. And this thing still got 3 lights out of the 4. And that was after it spent 20 minutes running my phone, as well as itself. It's probably one of I don't do a lot of filming, but if I did, then it would definitely be one of my favorite gadgets. And I'm also a bit I'm not super stable on the old hands, so that's why when I zoom out or zoom into something over a distance, it's a bit shaky.
It's a gimbal.
Well, the gimbal can handle the yeah, it's called a gimbal. This one I got is the Flow 360, the Insta360 Flow. I did do a bunch of research on lots of the other ones, and I was thinking about the DJI one, but this one's got a lot more features. It's smarter when it comes to following. If I put the gimbal down on the tripod with the camera on it, and I set it to follow me around, excuse me, and I set it to follow me around, then it could do that. If someone else walked into the picture, if I walked out, say I walked out of the room, and someone else walked in, a DJI would follow that person, whereas the one I've got waits for me to come back in.
This one is.
What makes that one? That's a
It's a Smart X. And I've got tons of buttons here, plus this one, plus this, whatever it does. And then, of course, it does what yours does as far as making a tripod. But the battery is in the here. It's back here, yeah, it's right there. But it connects to my phone. And there's a lot of, you can control all this stuff off the phone.
Oh yes, that's the same with this one. This one here has got, on the top here, you've got the obvious record button on that side. You've got the record button here,
Look,
power button. But that record button was what was messing me around when I was in Ely. Because you press it to do one thing, and you touch it to do something else. Now, if you touch it, it changes the mode of the gimbal itself.
Yeah.
And what I was doing was I was keeping my hand ready to record, but my thumb was too close to it. So I kept touching it and the mode kept changing. And I was trying to work out, why is it what I'm filming is not going right?
It's got its own little what you call it,
Yeah.
light.
You can get a light to go with this one that goes on top of the camera and plugs into that extender.
Yeah, this is built in right into the back of the.
I like that idea, but
It's got different levels a lot too. That's cool.
like I say, the fact of the size of it, it just, I haven't got big hands.
Yeah.
I haven't got big hands, and that fits in my pocket. I could just put that in my pocket, fold it up, and putting the camera on and taking it off
This
in
don't.
next to
This,
no time.
well, I guess I could put it in my pocket up to this point, but this here's gonna have to stick out. That don't fold up here on this one.
But like I say, this one's also got that little extra tripod bit that comes out at the bottom, which I think is pretty handy, like that. Yeah.
But
But
mine's
you
not
can
up.
screw on.
Mine's not inside of it. It's part of it. Turns into part of the handle. It's actually a little smaller down here than it is here.
Oh, the actual, if I use this one, I'm not going to open it up properly because it turns it on. But here, you can see that it's.
Yeah.
I've got fairly small hands. It's not so easy to hold. The bottom of it, you're not got it. But when you pull this bottom bit down, you can now hold it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
it's only when you pull out the legs that you actually turn it into a tripod. It's there as it's a solid handle. It's not. It all locks itself together.
I can take this off. Let's try. But like I said, the tripod.
Well, that's the way the DJI ones. But this one's also. If I took out I put the wrist strap on there so I didn't drop the damn thing. And that screws into a tripod mount. But if I took that out, I could put it on a normal tripod as well.
one of these days I'll get this one out and play with it a little bit. But it's powered up. It'll power up right now. I mean,
Yeah, I made a point when I got mine, I just messed about with all the features until it got to a point where I didn't have to look and see what I was doing.
yeah.
I could just press a button.
Well, I learned a few little things on it, but now I went so long without using it because I got disappointed in it at a horse show, and I went so long without it, I done forgot that part that I did learn. So, time will tell.
And I find it rather nice that it's got a little trigger on the back as well, where if you press it twice, it resets the gimbal to default the way it faces and that sort of thing. So if it's been moving around a lot and you're trying to get another shot, you double
Lum-
click it and it goes back.
Lume, is
Single
that
click.
one of the Android phones? Are you?
This
No,
one works on Android and iPhone.
yeah, yeah, mine does too. But no, my phone's not an Android. It's an iPhone. I'd be
Mine's an
lost.
Android.
I get lost on Android.
Hmm. Well,
I,
it's because what you're used to.
yeah, they asked me once in a while. Somebody, well, they wanted me to help figure out how to switch an account over on Facebook because she had lost the password, and when she did the thing, and the only way she had to retrieve it was to send it to your phone through a
Hmm.
text. But the problem was the text. She don't have that phone with that phone number anymore. And she was like, I said, well, it can be done. I just have to sit down and figure it out. But to navigate through your phone, I need you not to stand over me. Because when you're trying to figure, there's nothing worse than trying to figure out something you don't, that's new to you, and somebody going, "No, try this. No, try that. Push this way. Push that way."
I don't like people leaning over me when I'm doing anything.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me do that.
You know, unless they're doing something useful, just don't be there.
Yeah,
No, you're not. If you're not adding to the solution, you're
I've
adding to the problem.
you asked me to figure it out, and here you should do it yourself. But yeah, they figured it out.
I've had several phones, and each time I've just taken my SIM card out, deleted everything on the phone, and just opened it up in a new phone, and
Yeah,
it's all just loaded itself up, and I haven't had to mess about with it at all. But you get the added bonus of being able to get a decent phone for a lot less than this one's got some really good features, but it's cost me a fraction of the price of
and
one of the top big names.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
There's a lot of Android phones that have some features that iPhone don't have.
yeah.
But
Well, this one here cost me £340,
yeah,
and it's got a 200 megapixel camera. It's got 100 times zoom on one of the lenses, and that it's a good camera.
yeah.
But I didn't just buy it for the camera because it's also got one of the top processors.
But I can zoom from out here in the backyard all the way down past the creek. I can pinpoint something in a tree with this camera. And I was like total shocked that I could zoom in that good and still see that that bird in that tree or whatever.
If I use the actual camera that's built into the phone rather than the Insta360 app camera,
Yeah,
I could zoom in a lot further than I was zooming in with the Insta360
yeah,
app. It's one of the annoying things about Google is the fact that they don't allow third-party apps to use all of the features of the camera.
Well, yeah.
It's something to do with, they call it something to do with privacy issues.
Yeah, because
I can't work it out what difference that makes, but it's
yeah.
obviously they don't want apps. They don't have the level of checking that Apple do. Apple's all the apps that go through Apple Store have to go through a rigorous vetting process that costs the developer a lot of money, which is why Apple apps for Apple phones and things like that are a lot more expensive than the ones on Android.
Yeah.
It's because they cost them so much more to actually develop them.
Well, you could hold up a broken fingernail a football field away, and I can show you. I can be on the other end of that football field and pull in and show you a broken fingernail.
Yeah.
There's a day.
But then there's also the difference in the cost of the phones. Like
Yeah.
I say, my one's got 100 times zoom, and
Right.
it cost me £340. An iPhone like that one would cost me well over 1,000. Well
Yeah.
over 1,000.
So this is an iPhone Pro Max,
Yeah, top of the range.
and
See, I don't have contracts on my phone. I'm a pay as you go.
okay.
Partly because I can't get a contract. I can't get a credit rating. I've got such a rare name that I protect my identity like crazy. And unfortunately, the credit check companies and things like that can't confirm I even exist, let alone give me a credit report. I went for one of them, and they turned around and said, "You need to send us your passport, driving license, and proof of this and proof of that through the post to them, because they could not verify I existed." And there's no way I'm going to put my entire identity in an envelope and stick it in the post. So I haven't got a credit rating. I cannot get a contract for my phone because I haven't got a credit rating.
Unfortunately, they know me very well. So. But I used to walk into Freightliner in Kenworth and places like that and go, "I want that truck right there," and finance it through Mercedes Benz and walk out the door with it. And I've managed never to pay a bill late. That's been a blessing. I don't have zero late payments for years and years now.
Well, that doesn't make much difference to me. I pay my bills,
Yeah.
but I still can't get a credit rating because they can't verify I actually exist.
Yeah. Well, they know who I am and they keep track of all that stuff. That's the thing. They know everything. They know.
I'm on the voters register.
They know when one thing changes and stuff like that and goes up. Guess who just went live?
Who?
The Eddy family.
I might pop in and ask them where they've been.
They might have been. They were probably sitting in the background the whole time here. I wouldn't doubt it. But Neil, I want to thank you once again. You knocked it out of the ballpark once again, my friend.
Well, it was a challenge. It was fun.
Hey, you did it like a pro. It didn't seem to be much of a challenge, really. It didn't seem to be at all. And maybe you can do it again one day.
Yeah, but I'm might go over to the Eddies now and find out where they've been. Why they didn't come and see us? Are we good enough for them?
And everybody, everybody that showed up tonight, ones that are still here or done left, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed the video.
And
And another view of some even more of the wonders that this country's got to offer.
and
I don't know who they got to offer them to, but they've got them to offer.
and anytime you want to do it, just let me know. We'll do another one.
Well, if I can think of anywhere else I might want to go and film, I don't. Like I say, I don't go out. I don't go out very much.
Well, when you went out this time, did you go east or west, north or south?
North.
Well, then go south next time.
I go south to bugger all down that way. Yes. There's not a lot down that way.
Oh, well,
I'd have to go a very long way south before I actually found anything worth filming.
well, I want to tell everybody God bless and thanks. Like I said, thanks for being here and supporting Neil, because he's got it together and just don't know it sometimes. And but we enjoyed it, Neil, and we're gonna close this out and run over there and aggravate the Eddies for a little while. When you
Yeah,
get up,
find out where they were. Why don't they come and see us?
yeah, when you go over there, tell them we're bombarding them from random things I do.
Yeah.
We come to take over.
Yeah, we've only been live for an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. You know,
Yeah.
they couldn't be bothered to poke their heads in.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you later, Neil. God bless.
Okay, cheers. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
We'll
Bye.
see you. Bye bye. Stream.